Díomh a cóide agus fáilte ras. Hello friends and welcome to the Cream Cree podcast. It's Elaine. I am Elaine Doyle and it is with deep, heartfelt gratitude that I welcome you back to this sacred space. How are you getting on? I hope everyone is keeping well during these intense, magical, momentous times on planet Earth. I know I've said it before, but what a time to be alive. What a time to be alive. So just sending you so much love in this moment from the sacred lands of Ireland. And before I say any more, I just want to apologise for my very stuffy nose. I've been waiting for it to clear before I recorded this, but it hasn't been clearing. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to show up, stuffy nose and all. So I really hope you can hear me okay. So it is currently I had to check, make sure. It's the 18th of June, 2024, and we are just about to enter into the summer solstice energy here in Ireland. The summer solstice portal even, which is happening on the 20th of June, which is the brightest time of the year, the longest day of the year. And then the wheel of the year, the summer solstice, represents reaching our fullest potential, our greatest power, our greatest strength. So celebrating the energies of the solstice at this time. For anybody in Ireland, you'll know that it doesn't quite seem like the summer solstice. Last week it felt like we were approaching perhaps the winter solstice. It was very cold and windy, and it's just a reminder to surrender to our environment and what's happening and to come back to the light within us. So really praying for that for all of us here now, because the sun and the light is really important. Like, we need the sun. And when we don't get it in the external, it's really important to bring that light and that warmth to ourselves. And I feel like that is going to be the theme in today's podcast episode, which is how to return back to love, how to journey back to the light that we are at this very intense, sacred time on planet Earth. So before I get stuck in to today's episode, just inviting everybody now to take a deep breath. To just come into this present moment. Taking the journey from the head down into the portal of the heart, the gateway to the soul, the gateway to the divine. It's through presence that we enter into relationship with love, with God, with the divine source creator energy. So for the next however long we'll be sitting here together, let us reside in this sacred space of the heart, of love, and allowing yourselves to receive that which our soul wants to receive. Yeah, so now that we are in our heart space, we can really receive that which needs to be received at this time. So yeah, it's really good to be back here recording an episode for the Cray McCree podcast. It's been a while. I broke um, my microphone, and I felt like that was a sign to just park it for a while because there was just so many other things happening in my life, to be honest, and trying to juggle so many different things. Triple Spiral Healing, which is my new body of work and website, was launched, and yeah, just realizing that I can't do it all the time. So showing up when I can, and here I am. And for those of you who might be new, Cray McCree means the soil of my heart or the earth of my heart. So I'm here today to just share what's present in my heart, the musings from my heart, which I just feel is so important at this time. It's not about the highlight reel or what I think I need to share or what I think you need to hear. All I can do is share my truth and my story at this time. So here we are. And yeah, I'm maneuvering through so much right now that I actually was like, you know what, I'll record it when things are a bit more smoother or when things are sorted out. Yeah, no, that it doesn't work like that, does it? We can't wait till we're out of the shit, out of the storm. Sometimes we need to share while we're within the storm. So here I am showing up in my absolute raw vulnerability, um, in the hope that it might, yeah, resonate or support you on your healing journey. Where do I begin? As I said, I feel like the intention for this episode is to come back to love, even in the midst of the storm, to come back to the light that we are. And this Friday on the 21st, I'm starting an offering online that's called Journeying Back to Love, which is a container to help women specifically come back to the vibration and frequency of love. And for those of you who hold space, you'll be aware that when we are holding space, especially something like this, it brings the space holder, which is me, on a deep journey prior to it starting, to help me be able to share from a more embodied place. So I have been, over the past few weeks since I launched it, really, really, really seeing where love isn't present in my life and where my wounds need to be loved back into wholeness. So I really just want to share, perhaps, yeah, some of that journey with you today. Yeah, so let's see what wants to come true. Oh, wow, yeah. So the first thing that's really coming true right now is, and I was talking about it with my therapist this morning, is how uncertain and messy and chaotic and unknown and lently, if that makes sense, the heart-led path can be. I wish people could really, and this is why I'm sharing this, could really see the behind the scenes of what a heart-led path looks like. It's really difficult at times, and difficult isn't a bad thing, but when we say yes to love, which is following our natural vibration and frequency, coming back to our heart, following truth, it brings up all our core wounds that are not love. So as I was saying earlier on, in my quest to follow my dreams, my visions, my truth, to come back into union with love, all the trauma has come up for me, because that's what blocks love. There's a famous quote by Rumi, now I won't say it correctly here, but it's something like, we don't seek love, we look for ways inside of us that are blocking love. So it's about unlocking the blocks to love rather than needing to seek love. And when we look at what's blocking love, we see our pain and we see our trauma. So to me, if we're like, oh, I want to be all love and light and I want to come home to love, because for me, my friend Sean describes this time, not a new earth, but the age of heart. This is a time in humanity where we are coming back to our divinity, and to come back to our divinity means to come back to love. So really, for me, if we really simplify what this new earth is about, or this age of heart is about, it's coming back to love and truth and sovereignty and coming into union with God. And to me, when we're on that path, it's in my experience, it's mainly shadow work. Like, it's mainly shadow work because, as I said, and I'm going to repeat it again and again, it's the shadow that's blocking love. It's the shadow that's blocking love. And growing up in Ireland, like, who out there has never heard their parents say I love you, or who has never said I love you to their parents? Because that is very common here in Ireland. People are awkward when it comes to expressing love. And I really didn't even know what love was until I started on the healing path in 2019 perhaps. 2018 2019 I was really coming back to love. And I suppose I thought love was being in a romantic relationship, or loving the work that you do, loving things in the external. But I realized, that love is actually loving yourself. It's a vibration and a frequency that you can tune into when you're present and still and connecting with the divine. So I suppose I didn't really grow up knowing what love was, even though, of course, my parents and my family loved me. It wasn't spoken out loud. You were... The only thing, a lot of it, there wasn't any such thing as positive affirmations. It was more so everything that you were doing wrong. So, to come back into the present moment, then it's like, there's a lot within our psyche, collectively, ancestrally, that isn't love. Being hard on ourselves, self-criticism, judgment, not feeling good enough, thinking we're successful if we're doing lots, or whatever is in our external environment is a measure of success. It's not about that. Love is a vibration. It's peace. Like, to me, success is peace within our hearts. I mean, I could be hours explaining all these different things, but really what's present is this remembrance for me that our natural vibration and frequency is love. Okay? That is our natural essence. Like the plants, the rose, the trees, God, they all have this natural essence of peace and love. And we are that too. So when we say we are all one, we are all connected, we all hold that divinity of life force energy within us. And my experience of this is that before we enter the birth canal, which is our mother's womb, before we are birthed into this world, we are love and light. Is misha grog solace. I am love and light. And unfortunately, for a large percentage of us, or maybe everybody, I'm not sure exactly how it works, but like when we come through the birth canal and are birthed into this physical dimension, amnesia is put upon us where we forget our true origins. We have this illusion of disconnection when we enter this physical plane. And to me, and this might trigger some people how I'm going to phrase this, but this reality is a game. And it's like, I'm going to throw loads of shit your way, loads of trauma in your birth, trauma in your childhood, trauma in school. I'm going to trauma in war, trauma in the world. And all that is a test to see how well you can remember your true origins of love and light. Okay, so it's a game. It's a fucking game. Excuse my language, but it is a game. Or it's a school. A lot of people, I know Rebecca Campbell in her Oracle deck, she describes it as Earth School. This is a planet where you come to learn and evolve. And why it's such a good school on planet Earth is because it really tests you to see if you really, really remember your natural vibration and frequency, which is love. You know, it's like, it's that kind of idea that like when everything's good, it's easy to be love and light, but you come to planet Earth and there's war and there's shite and there's trauma everywhere. Well, how well can you remember now? Think of the video games that children used to play. Maybe children still play, unfortunately. But anyways, that's another conversation. Where like you can't get past a level unless you beat the enemies or whatever. And Planet Earth is like that. It's a game where we have to overcome all the obstacles in each level to reach ascension, because we're all on our way to ascending, and ascending is to actually overcome, in my opinion, all the human limitations and come back to the frequency of love and light. And when I'm really in the depths of uncovering ancestral trauma or childhood wounds, I'm like, this is another test, Elaine. Okay, to come back to love and light. And that isn't easily done. And I'm not spiritually bypassing here when I say, I just come back to love and light. No, I've spent years trying to, and am coming back to love and light, even in the midst of the ancestral trauma in my lineage. So it's a devotion, it's a courageous path to continuously look at the wounds, acknowledge them, and shed them. So do you get what I'm trying to say? It's not like, oh yeah, there's all this trauma, but my original essence is love and light, so I'm just going to forget that. No, the only way we can shed it, I believe, is to feel it, move through it, and shed it that way, through feeling it, acknowledging it, being aware of it, but not getting stuck in it, because the frequency of our soul, which is love and light, does have the ability to overcome all traumas. And I learned that a lot from my friend Elise, who is the queen of love herself, which is like, we have to create a very solid connection with God and the divine, because the deeper our connection with the divine is, right, the stronger our light grows, and the stronger our light is, the easier it is to overcome all traumas and pains. Does that make sense? So I kind of wish someone had told me that at the start of my healing path. Well, actually, someone probably did, actually, which she did. Yeah, Florrie told me, like, develop your connection with Mother Earth and the divine first, and then go into the ancestral trauma and past life karma and all that. But I didn't really understand what she meant at the time, and now I do, which is like, we need to have solid foundations with ourselves and with God before we look at all the trauma. And I still see that around me a lot, that people are like, oh, I just want to go down the ancestral trauma healing path. But we firstly have to have the ability to do that, have strong foundations where we're not going to get overwhelmed, because that can lead to a lot of anxiety and pain when we're caught in trauma, but we don't have the tools to actually deal with it. So this is actually really important. And how do we develop connections with the divine? Well, it really differs for everybody. You know, here in Ireland, our indigenous spirituality is a nature-based spirituality, so connection with the divine through nature. So sitting with the trees, plant medicines, being in the sacred waters, ceremonies with the fire, ceremonies with the elements in general, going into the sacred grove, sitting with the sites, the stones, meditating. Meditating is probably my main one that helps me come back to peace within. For some people it's yoga or singing. So we really have to cultivate our connection with ourselves and the divine to be able to overcome all shadows and pains, so we can shed them and allow the more density, everything that is dense and heavy, the more we clear that out, the more space there is for our soul and the light of our soul to come in. Maybe it's roomy again, you know, where the wound is, the light enters. Or when we're cracked wide open, our heart is open then to more love. So, yeah, like allowing ourselves to feel the pain, because that allows more space for more love to enter. Yeah, and I suppose just on that, it's like, to love is to grieve, because we grieve because we love, right? So it's that kind of idea that, like, the more we allow the grief and the sadness to move through, the more we come back into love as well. It's a bit of a side point, but it's all related. So remembering that everything in your life is a test. Okay, so everything is happening for us, not to us. And it's very easy to slip into a victimhood mentality where, like, why is this happening to me? And why have I inherited so much trauma and abuse and neglect? And why does this happen to me? We have to really, and it's, you know, really come out of the victimhood mentality and move into, this is really sad and traumatic that this has happened to me, but I am going to do everything I can to heal myself. And I trust that when I overcome this pain, it will help my soul and heart evolve into deeper states of consciousness and deeper states of love. And, you know, most of us who are healers, and you're a healer if you're listening to this, that's a fact. Most of us haven't had it easy. Why have we not had it easy? Because a lot of the time we grow through hardship. What doesn't kill us makes us stronger. We can evolve through softness, and I'm calling that in for all of us. We can evolve through love. We can, and we are. But we also come back to love by experiencing what love is not. Because when we experience what love is not, which is trauma and abuse and pain, we either die or we come back to love. When we are so traumatized and feel like we're going to die, that's when a lot of us wake up and say, oh my God, the only way I'm going to get through this is if I come back to my faith and my spirituality and to God. So that is why I feel a lot of us have had a lot of trauma. So we can really come back to God and then serve others, because we've been through the shit show, which is the trauma. It's the path of the wounded healer. The healer has had a lot of wounds. Through healing his or her own wounds, we then can guide others to do the same. And yeah, I know I'm rereading Louise Hay's book, How to Heal Your Life, I really recommend this book. Coming back to basics at this time. My life has been so chaotic. I was like, I think I just need to go back to basics here. And she talks about that, which is, yeah, a lot of us are traumatized because we have to learn how to heal the trauma to be able to help others. And those of you who are familiar with Louise Hay's work, let me just get a drink of some tea here, will know that Louise also talks about the fact that we choose our parents, we choose our family, we choose our lineage, because they will be our best teachers. They are reflecting back to us certain patterns that our soul needs to heal. So, the people in our lives who trigger us the most will be our greatest teachers. So I think when we know that we choose our environment, we choose our family, we choose our parents, it can really help us come out with the victim mentality, because they are showing us and they're helping us to overcome something. So for example, if our family didn't know how to show us love, right, that could then force us into loving ourselves. Like in Ireland, families not telling they love, not being able to tell one another they love each other, etc., etc. For me, that forced me back into loving myself. So my parents have been amazing guides and teachers for me back to love. And in fairness to them, they really, in many ways, have shown me love. So what really, looking at why did we choose our parents? Why did we choose our family? What are they helping us with? And, sometimes as well, because our soul has had many lifetimes, perhaps in our last lifetime we weren't loving ourselves. And then that is why we maybe manifested families who were abusive, who weren't very kind to us. It can be a karmic thing as well. Because really anything that happens to us is reflective of our own consciousness. So, which is not something to be hard on ourselves about, but I do believe it to be true. If we don't love ourselves, we will attract people who don't love us either, or don't know how to love us. It's a full-time job with this stuff, you know what I'm saying? Healing ourselves. And that's something else I want to mention here is, okay, so we're the first generation in a long, long time, I'm going to say thousands of years, to actually do this deep healing. This is a prophesied time where a generation of beings would start to do the healing work. Many different indigenous tribes throughout the world prophesy this time where a generation of people would wake up to the divinity that they are. We are those people. We are the ones we've been waiting for. This is the second coming of Jesus through the divine feminine Christed consciousness, which is love. Christ consciousness is love. So this is it, right? This is the time. But when this work hasn't been done for so long, there's a lot there. There's a lot of shadow work. There's a lot of trauma. There's a lot of pain that has to be looked at. So, I remember I said it to someone last week, do you like Louise Hay's work? She's like, oh, it just makes me feel bad about myself because I have to take responsibility for all the crap in my life, right? So what I'm getting at here is that we're the first generation to do the healing work. We don't need to be hard on ourselves just because we've loads of trauma, right? Louise Hay isn't trying to make us judge ourselves because we are manifesting all the crap in our lives. She is trying to teach us that we have to love ourselves back into wholeness, right? So what I'm trying to say here is, I hope I'm making sense, is don't criticize yourself just because there's lots of trauma. Love yourself back into wholeness. Love your shadow back into wholeness. It's really important. So I have a cold, probably because there's a lot of grief that I'm going through right now. Louise Hay would say blocked nose, runny nose is grief. It's also because I've been doing a lot, because I'm moving and different things, so there's a lot happening. Yeah, you could say, oh, I picked up a cold, but no, I'm going to take full responsibility. This is what I'm talking about, right? This is what Louise Hay's work is about, is like really owning our own health, our own environment, our own, whatever's going on in our lives is a reflection of our internal state. Right, so it's not like, oh my God, I'm after giving myself a cold, a shite, like, fuck's sake. No, it's about, okay, how can I love myself? How can I tend to myself to make sure I come back to full health? Because, yes, there's lots of parts of me that are still deeply unconscious and deeply wounded. But like criticizing that is not going to bring it back into wholeness, is not going to make me a better person. And it's very present in the Irish psyche, being hard on ourselves. Okay, so let's just focus on that. This is not about being hard on yourself. This is not about criticizing yourself anymore. This is about loving yourself. Saying, I'm doing my best. I'm trying to heal at least 7 generations of ancestral trauma, of social conditioning. I'm doing amazing. And when we meet more parts of ourselves that are in pain or wounded, we have to lovingly tend to those parts of ourselves like a mother would to a little child. We have to say, it's okay, I have you back. I'm gonna love you back into wholeness. And I spoke about this on my Instagram recently. I'm so over being hard on myself. I'm so over it. It's draining the life force energy out of me. Even when I'm doing it wrong, even when I'm making mistakes, I just want to love myself, because we can never make a mistake, because everything is learning, everything is growth. So this is my reminder to you that love is not about being hard on ourselves. To come back to love is to welcome all parts of ourselves, even the wounded parts of ourselves. And I was recently reading Mary Magdalene's Gospel, and they talked about this, loving the shadow, not judging the shadow. Because we all have a shadow. If we didn't have a shadow, we wouldn't be on this earth anymore. We wouldn't be playing the game. So I just want to say a prayer now for us all to be more compassionate and loving towards ourselves at this time. And yeah, I'm not sure if I already said this, but it obviously needs to be said anyways. I just picked up a diary. I journal a lot. So journaling is how I really connect with myself and the divine. I really recommend daily journaling. for shedding the shit and helping you come back to the truth of who you are. I call on my guides and angels as I journal, and they come in and speak through me and support me. And a lot of the time they're like, Elaine, just stop worrying. Dear child, you're all good. This is your ego. Anyways, I picked up a journal from 3 years ago. I was living in Wicklow, and I had written to myself, sometimes I'm unsure if I'm doing this path right. Like, I don't know if maybe I'm doing it all wrong, as in the heart-led path. And then I wrote to myself, I said afterwards, this is not a time to judge yourself. This is a time to be loving and compassionate towards yourself. Okay, so that was 3 years ago. And I am still learning to be compassionate and loving towards myself. There is, like I've shed a lot in my recent bleed around being judgmental towards myself, but it's still 3 years on. It's like still something I have to be very mindful of, not being hard on myself, because I know that isn't love, and I know I'm here to burn love. We all are. So I'm just showing you that it's not something, maybe it'll happen overnight, but for me it hasn't. But I can definitely see the massive progress I've made in the last couple of years. So playing this game, coming back to our divine origin of love and light, is a devotion, and it's a courageous path. And it is about always showing up for yourself and getting the support you need through therapy or coaching or plant medicines, whatever you need, so they can help you to not be judgmental towards yourself, not to get stuck in the trauma, but to come back to your natural origins. And yeah, I suppose as I journey back to love, it's like my main thing right now is just not being hard on myself. And yeah, I wish that for all of us. I wish that for all of us. So to come back into where I started a bit, which I was saying that I was really in the depths of it at the moment. And again, I was reflecting on this with my therapist this morning, and maybe I've already said this, but here it is again, is that I have been on a very devoted path for a long time, as in, like, I never wanted to do what was expected of me. Well, not for a very long time. So I've been continuously having to step into my highest timeline, really running in the direction of my highest dreams and visions and dream life. Now I did work in the system, the matrix, for a long time, but even within that, I'd quit my job and I went traveling the world for 6 months, and that was back in 2015, and I really woke up then to knowing, like, okay, this is about the heart-led path. This is not about the 9 to 5 and that, like, and we can have that, we can have that, but like, that wasn't actually my part of my dharma. That wasn't, I was doing those things because to people please and because it was expected of me. I knew there was a whole other way of living. And, as we get older, our dreams and our visions change and they become different. And it becomes like there's bigger obstacles sometimes to overcome in order to really live a heart-led life, or what our truest heart's desires are. And that's what I'm in the midst of, is actually like what was once easy to overcome and do for my heart is now a little bit harder because I'm a little bit older and I'm a little bit more settled in my ways. So for example, a couple of years ago, I knew I had to leave Kilkenny, packed up my car during lockdown and just was like, I'll get somewhere to live, I need to go. And I went to Wicklow, I went to a circle and happened to just find somewhere to live within 24 hours. And I am in the midst of, I left the east coast of Ireland a few weeks ago to move west. And I'm like, whoa, this is actually like way harder than it was a couple of years ago, maybe because I'm more settled in myself and I need certain things, and I'm actually a lot more grounded than I was back then. And without getting it totally into my life story right now, what I'm trying to say to you is that love is following our heart's truest desires, but that can mean that we have to overcome our deepest fears and uncomfortabilities to reach that point. So for me to be West, to get West, I'm having to look at all my core wounds. All of my core wounds. And it's been really intense. Like, I haven't been online much because it's like I've been actually living off grid. I've been house sitting for my friends in East Clare. And I knew that this move west was going to kind of pull the rug from underneath me, because there's a lot of safety for me on the east. My family lives there, which have given me a lot of support. They've given me a lot of support on the heart-led path since I left a day job, physically, emotionally, in lots of ways. And I also, my now ex-partner lived on the East Coast. I was living with him in Wexford, and that relationship ended, and I knew leaving that was the end of the relationship and was the end of me living with my family as well. And that brought up all my core wounds then of having to be back on my own and providing for myself emotionally, physically, spiritually, financially, physically. And that brought up all my core wounds, all my childhood wounds of not feeling loved or protected or safe. So I've literally just been feeling like I was dying there for a few weeks because I'd stripped myself bare again. And I'm sharing this because there's a lot of people out there that I work with or that I come across, and I know the reason, well, I'm sensing the reason we don't follow that highest dharma or timeline is because we're afraid of those core wounds coming up. And I'm here to remind you that it's safe and it's doable, and that we actually have everything within us to maneuver through those times. Because, as I said, before we came into the birth canal, we were love and light. We are love and light. So we actually have everything it takes. And it reminds me of Joan of Arc's quote. It's like, I am not afraid I was born to do this. Or I am born to do this. Something. Yeah. So it's like we have the skills it takes to achieve everything that our heart wants us to achieve. If we didn't have what it takes, we wouldn't have those desires. And in Wales, I had an accidental, very strong plant medicine initiation with the mushrooms, and which won't get into too much, but it really prepared me for this time, because I had this really intense experience where I felt like I was dying. And eventually, after a couple of hours of a trip, if anyone's ever experienced an ego death with a plant medicine, this is what I was experiencing, but I didn't realize it for a couple of hours. I realized I had to surrender to the death and just melt backwards and stop fighting it and just allow the death to happen. And it's really prepared me for this initiation, because I'm just able to surrender more to the death. So it's like, okay, I feel like I'm dying. I'm stripped bare. All my wounds are shown up, but it's okay. It's safe to just surrender to that and allow the pain to come up and allow the death to happen. And when I say allow the death to happen, it's like just allowing those wounded parts of ourselves to fall away that are actually getting triggered in those moments. Because the reality is, I'm not going to actually die, and I'm now an adult, so I can parent myself now and meet my needs, if that makes sense. So what the last few weeks have reminded me of is fear. How fear can really stop us from stepping into our highest timeline and dharma. And we don't need to be afraid. That grief and pain and trauma, it's okay to feel those things. as long as we have the support and our solid connection with the divine. So I have my therapist, I have my journaling, I have my meditation, I have my community. So I'm not asking people to like step into the unknown with any support here. It's like, yeah, it's like someone going off and doing ayahuasca with no previous experience with spirituality and having a really traumatic event that can lead to psychosis or mental health difficulties. It's not about jumping into the deep end. This is about knowing that you have the emotional support to go through something that's going to bring up all your core wounds. But sure, like, I've been on this path for years, so I knew I had what it takes, but I was still very afraid. I definitely put this move off to the west of Ireland for a long time. But it's not that I put it off. I had to cultivate a deeper connection with the divine before I did it. Because those of you who know the west of Ireland, it is a very spiritual place, and it's very raw, very magical. And it's a piece of land that for me brings up, because it's magical and divine, it will also bring up your shadow, because it's trying to bring you back into love and into the divine. So the west of Ireland is my edge. And it's been beautiful to be back on the edge, because that's where you grow. And another point here is like, sometimes we can become used to safety and being in our comfort zone. Now, it's not about completely going out of our comfort zone, because that can be traumatic for our nervous system, especially as a woman who bleeds, right? But you know that saying, we don't always grow when we're in our comfort zone. So I was very settled in Wexford. I loved my life there. And I was becoming used to being emotionally stable all of the time, most of the time, because it was just really comfortable and safe, and I felt protected there. And I was getting used to that, and I didn't really want that to change, because I knew moving west was going to, make me emotionally unstable for a while. And I'm going, emotionally unstable. Even though it's not really emotionally unstable, it's an awakening. It's an initiation. It's a threshold more than an emotionally unstable. That's the truth, because emotionally unstable sounds like it's a negative thing. A threshold initiation is a positive thing, and that's actually what it is. So, I had to then. So I'm like, what I was saying was, I was becoming used to being stable and safe and in my comfort zone. And I realised the last few weeks that it's okay to not be feeling stable every single day. I don't need to attach to that right now. It's okay, so I'm having a wobbly, I'm having a bit of instability in my life. That's okay. It's not about love and light and peace all the time. When I'm maneuvering through a massive threshold or initiation, I'm going to feel a bit unstable. And that's okay. I think as a people pleaser, I got used to making, oh yeah, I'm fine, I'm good, in Ireland, how are you? Oh, I'm good, yeah, when you're not like, and I'm actually, I've been saying to my friends, sorry, I can't get back to you. I'm in the midst of one of the biggest thresholds of my life, and I'm all over the shop. And that's okay. And I think that's what's helping me get through this time, which is like, this is fucking needed. My guides keep saying, Elaine, I know it feels like a shit show right now. There's no certainty. There's this, that, and the other. This change was needed. And it's going to up-level you a lot. And I was talking to my friend about that yesterday. If you were safe, Elaine, this growth wouldn't be happening. I was like, I know. And we're always safe, but I mean in the safety comfort zone. I wouldn't have grown anymore in Wexford. I just, So when we come back to love and we listen to love, and love is saying, I need you to follow your heart's truest desires. Sometimes it might get worse before it gets better. Right? And it really is coming back to, I have what it takes. I am safe, I am supported, I am protected, I am love, I can do this. And I was like, what's the worst case scenario? That I'm sitting down in a house in Kerry on my own, crying every day, moving through my wounds for a while. Because that's where I feel like I'm going to go next, perhaps. And it's like, what am I so afraid of? I'm well able for that. I'm well able for that. You know, what's the worst case scenario? Like, I'm not actually going to die. I'm very loved, you know. So what are we afraid of when it comes to our deepest dreams and desires? What are we afraid of? What's the worst case scenario? Feel into that. Would you be able for the worst case scenario? I think you probably would. Or else Spirit wouldn't be able to show you what your worst case scenario is. We see it because we're able for it. And, you know, I was recently over in Wales for my friend's hand fasting ceremony, and it was the most divine ceremony beside the yew tree. Oh my God, like the codes I received from their union that evening. I was like, I have to find my beloved. Like we deserve to be madly, deeply in love with ourselves and our partner and our life. And I know the path they've been on. They've had to go through what a lot of people aren't brave enough to go through to come back into the love and idealness of their life, because they have a beautiful, beautiful life that a lot of people are striving after. Divine union relationship. But I know, and I know this from other friends as well, that it's because they did the hard heart work. They did they're doing the shadow work, they did the shadow work, they're unearthing the trauma, they're devoting themselves to love, and they're loving their shadow. And that's sometimes the side of these ideal highlight reels that we don't understand. It's like it takes hard, courageous work to be in union with God and love and the divine. It takes daily devotional practice to say, I'm clearing everything in my body that is dense and heavy. I'm clearing that out through crying and therapy and whatever it takes to make more space for the loving embrace of the divine love, God energy that I am. We work hard to get to where we are. You know, people, oh, you're so lucky, you have so much freedom and amazingness in your life, which I do. Yeah, I've worked hard. Seriously, I've worked really hard. And not in the way you think in a 9-to-5 job. I mean emotionally, you know, emotionally. And I know you have too, and that's why you're here. What else did I want to share here? And this, you know, this is why a lot of women and men are coming back to the Rose lineage, the Hawthorne, Mary Magdalene and Yeshua, the two-headed Danann, because these energies and frequencies hold love. So that's why and that's why I'm doing the journey on Friday with the Hawthorne and the Rose, because the Rose and the Hawthorne hold the divine love energy that we're trying to come back to. So yeah, you know, there are other ways that you can delve into this frequency of love, which is, yeah, Mary Magdalene, the Rose, the two-headed Danann, the ancient spiritual ancestors of Ireland, that will support you on this heart-led path. And I'm not sure if I said it already, but like I hated myself for most of my life. Like, oh my gosh, lads, the reason I had really bad acne for about 10 years. And I read Louise Hay book, and she said acne is about self-hatred. Repeat the mantra, I love and accept myself every day, and I did, and I healed my acne. And I share that because like I've experienced the opposite of love. I was in very abusive relationship, which I shared in my first podcast episode, where it was, emotionally abusive, physically abusive, and he was representing to me my self-hatred for myself. So the more we love ourselves, the more we invite loving people into our lives. When we are emotionally abusive towards ourselves, or physically abusive towards ourselves, which we can be in ways, banging things and hitting things, and we'll attract people who will do that to us. So I just want to say that I didn't grow up in this super loving consciousness or anything. Like, I didn't, or connected at all. I wasn't. But I was forced to come back to love because I was experiencing the exact opposite. So if you're experiencing the exact opposite, that's okay, but that's what will motivate you to come back to love, to journey back to love, which is compassion and kindness and being loving towards yourself through food and massages and your thoughts and your beliefs, which is most important because, and again, Louise Hay talks about this in her book, it's a lot of our belief systems are very unloving and they create all the problems in our lives. So, we can go to a therapist and be like, oh, I have this problem, and this problem, and this problem, and we can focus on the problems, or actually what are the belief systems in my life that are leading to all these issues in my life? A lot of the time it's because we don't feel like we're worthy of having a great place to live, or a great partner, or a great job. A lot of the time we are in a place of suffering, thinking our life, we go to school, we don't like it, we're in jobs, we don't like it, but we think that's normal. We think suffering is normal and that pleasure is greedy. Or a lot of us have burnt ourselves out in the past because we don't feel like we're enough. I'm not enough, and it drives us into burning ourselves out, which is one I've been working on still, is I am enough, and things I do in the world is not a reflection of me being not good enough or being good enough. So what I'm trying to get at is every issue in our life comes back to a lack of love, not feeling good enough, not feeling worthy enough, not feeling worthy of everything that we desire. And the great thing is, as humans in this game, we can be willing to change. We can change these mindsets and belief systems and frequencies back into love, which is the journey I am on right now. And it's a full-time job. What do you do? Well, I'm just trying to burn more love into the world. I wish I got paid for it, but, well, I do in different ways, Yeah, of course I do in different ways. So let us see where I'm at now. So yeah, just coming back into my heart space now. Yeah, I feel like that's most of what I wanted to share today. The musings and what was present in my heart. I hope it resonated in some way, or that it made sense, because I don't think about these things beforehand, really. I just sit down and I talk. And yeah, to really sum it up, what I really wanted to get across, I suppose, is that coming back to love, journeying back to love, devoting myself to my heart-led path, to my dreams, doesn't always look smooth or easy. And actually a lot of the time over the past few years, it's been shadow work. Yeah, deep shadow work. And creating a lot of spaciousness in my life to filter out everything that is dense and heavy, so I can come back to the truth of who I really am, which is love and light. I feel like I have a long way to go, but I am devoted, as I'm sure you are too. So, yeah, that's a bit of an update of where I am. And yeah, I suppose my prayer is to just continue to overcome fear and allow, like, love is stronger than fear always, for all of us. Love is stronger than death. Love is stronger than any pain we've experienced. So as we continue on our heart-led path over the next few months, may we remember that we have what it takes to face our deepest shadows. We have what it takes to fulfill our mission and purpose and dream life. We deserve it. We are worthy of it. And all we have to do is to continue to journey back to love. Love ourselves. Stop criticizing ourselves. Love our shadow. Remember that this is a game. And we win the game when we continue to remember the truth of who we are, which is love and light. So, yeah. Shine for now. And, you know, as I just reflect there, that is the summer solstice energy, which is like full potential. Our full potential is love and light. Our full potential at the summer solstice is devoting ourselves to our highest dreams, our missions. Going, you know what, let me just reach my full potential by knowing I can overcome all obstacles, all struggles. I can win this game on planet Earth. And, you know, as my priestess teacher reminded me last year, or told me last year, when the sun is at its highest and at its brightest, which is now at the summer solstice, it will, because the light is very bright, it will shine a light on all of our shadows. So that's why there's a lot of shadow work that happens around the solstice, because, you know, if you go in to a room and there's a luminous bright light, you see everything in the room, the dust, the cobwebs, the spiders, and that's what happens at the solstice. Our deepest wounds are exposed. So let us be loving towards ourselves, compassionate towards ourselves, embrace our shadows, our pains and our wounds at this time. So I'm sending you all so much love. Thank you for being here. Thank you for witnessing me. Thank you for supporting me. Yeah, until next time, slán go fóill a cara. Bye for now. Take care.